And good morning once again. We're glad that you are a part of our service online today with the Noonan Church of Christ. This is the time of the service where we would normally have a sermon, but we've chosen to do something a little bit differently this morning. I've invited three of our members to be a part of a panel discussion as we talk about how we are dealing with the current health crisis, how our routines are the same or have changed, alterations we're having to make, how our faith is sustaining us during this time. We hope this will be, as we have a conversation here in just a moment, I hope this will be a time of encouragement to you, maybe give you some ideas, some resources, some things that you can do to navigate these uncharted waters in a more healthy way. So, to my left is Helen White, and she is a part of our panel today. And then we have Phil McHouston beside her. My name's Alan Henderson, and then Sylvia Cork to my right. So we're just going to, and as you can see, we have some appropriate social distancing going on. We're trying to be safe as we do this, and I appreciate them very much coming out and joining us for this time today. So let's just kind of jump right into it, folks, and see what happens here. About half of the governors of the states have issued stay-at-home or safer-at-home or shelter-in-place instructions for their states. Obviously, people's work lives are changing as they're working from home now, and schools are closed, businesses are closing down for the time being. So what are you doing with the time that you find that you have now? Just so different than anything we've experienced before. So Helen, we'll start with you if you don't mind jumping in there on that question.
Well, I'm trying to maintain as much of my normal schedule as possible. I try to get up at the same time, have my coffee, read my devotional, and do the same thing. I walk every morning for about an hour.
That's
and
great.
So I found that breaking up my day the way I would normally break it up helps me get through the day. And of course, communicating with my friends. We are great texters, and we get a conference call going every morning.
Okay, so kind of delve into that a little more. Texting, conference call. So is this something that you weren't doing before? You're kind of adding that, or were you doing that sort of thing already, but even more enhanced now?
Well, we have always text, but not probably as much as we have been texting the past week. And the calls, our conference call, we get to laugh and kind of talk about what we're doing, and that really helps. That's probably one of the biggest things that gets us through the day, I think, is the connection with those people that are a big part of our lives.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. Sylvia, I'll turn to you. What do you kind of track with what Helen's saying there? Are you doing some different things? I know we're all have different habits, different routines, so kind of describe your days to us.
Well, I do enjoy the conference call and all of the other texting back and forth, which is more now than
Now,
it
are you
had
in
been.
the conference call with
Yeah.
Helen? Now, what I want to know, Phil, have you and I been left out of this? Or, I haven't been invited to this conference call, so my feelings are hurt here. I'm just teasing, so go ahead.
Let's see. It's mostly the single ladies
Okay.
in a group, and just to make sure that everybody's okay every day and what's going on with families and so forth. But it's absolutely wonderful to keep in touch. Otherwise, I'm actually delving into some projects that needed doing that I should have done a while back. So anyway, it's given me the time because nobody can call and say, let's go to lunch, know. So I have
some of those
have a clear day.
Things that have been on your to-do list for a while, you're now actually able to do. 'Cause
I'm
you can't
tackling, yeah.
run out and do other stuff.
Yeah.
So Phil, you're still going to work. Your work routine is the same pretty much as it has been because of the particular company you're a part of. So tell us about for you and your household. How are you guys using your
Well, I
time?
mean,
Has it changed much?
It really hasn't changed much. The type of business that I'm in, actually work is kind of ramping up even more.
Okay.
And it's pretty much staying about the same for me.
Okay. So are you working extra hours now? Or still.
We
about
will
the
be.
normal?
Yes,
Okay.
we will be.
All right. Excellent.
This weekend, probably.
Good. Well, we appreciate you getting out there and doing that. So we all have different personalities and different temperament and that sort of thing. So how has the being at home and not being interacting physically face-to-face with people, is that you getting cabin fever? I know I interact with some folks in my other line of work that, will talk about that. Some people enjoy. It's like, hey, I like the time at home. So how's that working for you all? Sylvia, I'll ask you first.
I have not gotten cabin fever yet.
Nor have I.
Okay.
Again, I think breaking up the day helps that a lot. And when you're alone, anyway, once I get to evening time, it's like, okay, it's just a normal day or a normal evening.
Mm-hmm. So keeping those routines is really helping you to navigate through the whole situation here. What have you all found most challenging about this, Phil? I'll start with you on that one.
I guess just keeping your distance and not getting the wrong impressions from people or giving the wrong impressions to people, like you don't care or something because you're not able to interact as you normally would.
Yeah. If I'm a hugger,
Right.
So not hugging people, not shaking hands.
Right.
It's been challenging and feels weird, because that's part of what we do in this part of the country, especially, I think. So what about you, Sylvia? What's been most challenging for you?
Just the fact that I can't jump in my car and go wherever I want. For instance, the grocery store.
Okay.
I feel that I need to practice, the distancing and just, it's a mindset right now that I just have to be careful, that I have to.
So are you still getting out and doing your own shopping and that sort of thing, or family members helping with that at all? I know you have some family in the area.
I am blessed to have children and grandchildren, and they are looking after me well. However, I did go to the grocery store for the senior time yesterday morning.
So how
from
was that?
7 to, it was great. There was a bunch of old folks there.
I know when Sylvia mentioned that, I laughed because that's what I've said too. There's just a bunch of old people out early in the morning.
So which stores are you finding? I know Publix, I think Kroger's doing that. Walmart's doing some of that too. Are those time frames good? Like 6 to 7, 7 to 8? Is that kind of when they're doing those mostly, I think?
Ordinarily, I would not be out at 7 a.m. to go to the grocery store. Not since I'm retired. But, it worked out great, and there were a lot of people there, and the store management, I went to Publix.
Okay.
They just had the center door open and had cleaned buggies for us and were offering them to us as we came in. I thought it was really nice. I appreciated that greatly.
That's good. So we are finding in the community there's a lot more, seems to be helpfulness and people going out of their way. So that's one of the things I think that is hopeful in this situation. People are stepping up. So Helen, what's been most challenging for you in this whole scenario?
I'd say pretty much the same thing that Sylvia said. I'm used to jumping in the car and going meeting somebody for lunch, and I miss going to ladies' Bible class and just those things, that the getting together to play cards and laughing and cutting up. I miss that. That's challenging not having that.
Okay. So this sort of leads into another question here. So how do you find your faith sustaining you in this? I am noticing as I interact with people in other settings that, there is a difference in sort of the language and the outlook and the mindset of people who have a deep faith in God as opposed perhaps to those who don't. So how's your faith sustaining you? What resources you're drawing on? What are you finding hope in as we navigate these hitherto unexplored waters. Helen, I'll go back to you on that one.
I think when I scroll through Facebook every day, which I didn't normally do,
Okay.
finding all kinds of encouraging scriptures, and in talking with one of my sisters who is in Sacramento, California, living with one of her sons, and she said she's calling every day, and she said, well, just remember, Helen, we're going to be all right. We're okay no matter what.
Okay.
And I think it's those scriptures that we can read over and over again and know that no matter what, nothing can separate us from the love of Christ Jesus, and that no matter what happens to us, that we're okay.
Yeah. Romans
We're okay.
chapter 8 passage
8:28.
comes up again and again, doesn't it? So, Phil, what about you and Shelley? What are you finding sustenance in through your faith?
Yeah, I
during this
think it's
crisis?
for us, it's just trusting in the promises. I like to look at Matthew 6 and don't worry about anything. What Jesus says, it's just maintaining your faith, the foundation that's laid, and reading scriptures and trying to minimize the news and the negativity that can come from the news outlet.
Amen. So, Sylvia, what can you add something to what Helen and Phil have said? What are you finding hopeful and faith, drawing on your faith?
Many times a day I think of be still and know God. And I do. You know, it's like when you're busy, you don't think of that so much, I think. But it's just wonderful. And I don't worry. I have concerns. It's not going to do me any good to worry about this. God is going to be with me. He's never going to leave me, never going to forsake me. So I'm like Helen, we're going to be okay. An old adage that I think about sometimes, too, that I grew up with, behind every cloud there's a silver lining.
I know as on airplanes, sometimes we'll take off and it's storming on the ground, it's raining, and coming down pretty good, but you go up through the clouds and you come out into that sunlight. It's always a reminder to me that, hey, above the storm, the sun's always shining, and it's there all the time, even though we can't always see it. And for me, that's a wonderful metaphor for kind of going through these particular times. Helen?
Lately, I've been trying to start my day with Psalm 118:24. Today, this is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice in it and be glad. I think when I start feeling a little anxious, I just start thanking God for all of my blessings. I think that's the secret for me. When I have even the slightest bit of a negative thought, I realize it's important to start the blessings, counting the blessings, because I have everything to be thankful for.
That's an awesome piece of counsel, I think, for all of us, that when you express gratitude and thanksgiving, it eliminates the negativity, it reduces the anxiety, produces a sense of peace and calm. And I want to thank the three of you. We're gonna shift here for just a second. This is a great time for us to participate at home in communion, whether it's just you at home or with your family. And so we're gonna shift into that and hear from one of our shepherds as he shares some communion thoughts and offers prayers. And then we're going to come back after that. I think there'll be a song after the communion that we'll have a chance to listen to online. And we'll come back and we'll do another briefer segment as we sort of wrap up this time together. So certainly the Lord's Supper, the body and blood of Jesus, sustains us, gives us hope, gives us life. And let's pause now and hear from Greg as we think about the great gift that God gives us through his Son.